thing that we don't necessarily concentrate on in this is that Henry, I think, became king at something like the age of 12 when his brother died. Nobody had prepared him for kingship. Everyone thought he was, compared to his brother, something of a, an idiot child by comparison. And Thomas was a great educator, a great thinker, someone who stood somewhat outside the court. And I think Henry derived great strength from his friendship and his knowledge. It's tempting to think as well from the other side of things, to think of More and Wolsey and others being around Henry as a young king and moulding the political landscape before Henry really knows what it is. So the point where we pick up the story, I mean, that's already in place. People think of Thomas as being an idealist, and he likes to be thought of as an idealist. But there are, I suppose, certain question marks over why such a pure idealist would be involved in politics at all, however much he is treading an altruistic line. He's nonetheless heavily involved in the politics of the court, however much he doesn't want to live at court. So I think the situation begs certain questions of the character. It'd be an interesting question not many of us have to face, how you actually do influence the supreme ruler's opinion over things. And I suppose there is an element of, within the story, of Henry being this sort of force of nature that could go this way, it could go that way, and various figures like Wolsey and More stand like sometimes a welcoming harbour or sometimes a set of jagged rocks. Which way does he go? Who will have greater influence? In the end, of course, Henry will go the way that Henry goes. It's a painful lesson that everybody has to learn, I think, throughout the series. I'm not a great historian by nature. It's not a period of history. I think it's you assume that you know the story. So it's interesting looking at these scripts and seeing how slowly actually we go through this painful process. Normally, stories about Henry, you race through the 6 wives, and suddenly it's you end up with a bloated, fat, impotent king with gout, and it's nice to go through in some detail and see the twists and turns, the blind alleys, the fairly impossible choices. It makes sense of how the impasse with Rome is eventually reached at, because we actually spend time discussing that and the various alliances and treaties that are signed or broken within Europe as well, none of which I did know about, no.